Hey everyone, how's it going today? Hope you guys are having an awesome day. We're back with some space exploration and some Krastorio too. And today we're going to be tackling, I think, one of the things I've been most nervous about tackling because I have never done it before and it's just a bit confusing. So I'm hoping that it goes alright. And that, of course, is Arcospheres. So Arcospheres are going to be the next thing that we're really going to need to tackle for the next space science. And if we check out here, where is it? All the way over here, not over there. Where is my research for? Okay, so here's this. So we got to go through the Naquium Tesseracts, and then our deep space catalogs and our science packs. Now these guys, the research for these, all of them include Arcospheres. So we definitely have to do Arcospheres. And you'll notice that there are a bunch of different Greek letterings for the Arcospheres. And basically our goal is going to be to, first of all, collect them. That's going to be obviously the first thing we have to do. So that's what we're going to be doing first, is setting that up. But then we are going to have to balance them. So basically once you make them, you can make them into any of these different configurations of Arcospheres, and then from there you're going to have to use all these different folding patterns, which we'll have to figure out exactly how those work to balance the levels of all of the different kinds of Arcospheres, so that you never really run out of one, because there are a bunch of different things that require Arcospheres from here on out, including science, but not limited to science. There are other things that require Arcospheres as well. So that is what we're going to be doing. The first things first is we do need to create this Arcosphere collector. Now, we already have a space probe rocket silo in an asteroid field. So I think I'm just going to actually grab, I don't know how many Arcospheres we get. I know that there are diminishing returns. So if you open up Informatron and go to Arcospheres, you can see they're of unknown. So Arcospheres are near perfect spheres of nano-engineered Naquium crystal. They are of unknown origin, but are most commonly found floating deep in interstellar space. Each one encompasses blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to read all this. But for collection, Arcospheres are found by launching an Arcosphere collector. Repeated launches have diminishing returns. You might get better returns by launching from different asteroid fields. So what that really means is launching from one asteroid field is going to have diminishing returns. So I'll probably launch like 2, let's say, from one, and then move to a different one and launch from another. I really don't know how many it yields. So, if it yields a bunch, we might do more than 2 launches. We'll see. So I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into satellite mode so I can place buildings. And I am going to place down a space manufactory, I think right here. Seems like a good place, kind of an empty area that nobody needs at the moment. And we're gonna do this. And I'm just gonna grab it and do it by hand, honestly, at this point. I don't think that we really need to automate grabbing Arcospheres, because you don't use up Arcospheres as far as I can tell. Now, I could be wrong about that, but looking at all of the different science things all of the different things that use it, I noticed, so let's just quickly look at these tech cards, right? You put in 2 Arcospheres. So we put in an Arcosphere Lambda and Arcosphere Xi, and we get out a Zeta and a Theta. So it seems like you put in 2, you get out 2. Pretty much all the time. You put in 2, you get out 2, right? This one you get 2, this one you get 2. So I'm fairly certain you don't ever use them up. And since we don't use them up, we're not going to need like a crazy amount of them. And nice. That is unfortunate, to say the least. You know what? We'll come over here and do it. That's fine. That's fine. And thankfully it does fit right there. Sweet. Okay. So Arcosphere collector. There it is. And we're going to request. And I'm going to turn that one off. Ooh, we don't have airframe bulkheads. Do we have those over, what would it be, here at all? Yeah. Okay, let's do this. And in the meantime, I'm gonna run over here and I'm just gonna pick up all these naquium cubes. Oh, I don't know if I even need that many. Because if we're just gonna make 2, we need how many? 20? Alright, cool. There we go. Okay, there's that. And then antimatter canisters. We do have antimatter stream right over here. So what we can do, I think... What is this done in? Oh, it's done in a particle accelerator? Ew. Ew. Oh gosh, nothing fits nicely sometimes, and this is like super unfortunate placement, isn't it? You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna move this guy. It's just gonna be easier. Because that still reaches everything that we wanted to reach, which are all these buildings here. So I'll be happy. Okay, so we'll do it here. And we'll do this. Oh man, and we need to do all the fluids too. Yikers. Yikers. Okay. That's fine. So here's warm thermal fluid. Guess we'll do that. All right, there we go. And then last but not least, wait, we're not trying to empty it. We're trying to, wait, what the heck? What did I look at? Oh my God, not one of these. Gosh dang it. We gotta do it in one of these. All right, that's fine. Now, do we actually need all that stuff that I just did? Yeah, we do. Okay, it's fine. Wrong one of these. All right, let me put one of these down here. Okay. And we can do that. And... Are you kidding me? It doesn't work. It doesn't have the same setup for the fluid. Nice. Okay, that's, well. That's fine. Okay. There we go. And then over here we've got our particles, whatever they're called, the antimatter stream. There we go. Sweet. And then we can put those into a passive provider. Alrighty. Nice. So that solves that problem. And so we'll hopefully have these pretty quickly. So I'm just gonna wait these out. We're gonna make 2 of them. And literally all I'm gonna do is I am just going to grab the Arcosphere collectors and I am going to jump in my spaceship here and I'm gonna head out to the asteroid field. So once I'm back from that, or once I'm there, and have all these, then I will meet you there and we will get some Arcospheres. Alrighty everyone, we are here and as you can see, the space probe rocket silo is ready to go. And I actually did bring a bunch more Arcosphere collectors because I wasn't sure and I really didn't want to risk it. So we're just gonna launch all 5 and see how it goes. So let's see. Let's see what we get. And actually, I'm gonna stop these really quick. Actually, I guess it doesn't matter. Nice, 272 hours in, we got our first Arcospheres. 5. It gave us 5. I guess that's not terrible. I'm trying to think like what I expected it to be. I don't know what I really expected it to be honest. I'm trying to think how many we really should have. We really should have, realistically, like 30, 40 of them? Maybe a little bit more. So I'm just gonna finish launching these. I'm really not sure how many of these. So I'm just gonna time lapse through this, I guess, while we wait for these to build and deploy and launch. I will see you guys on the other side. Alrighty, so we got 22 out of this, which I think is a pretty good number actually. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm gonna let this run a handful of times for, maybe just once. Yeah. Just so that we can get a little bit more of the research stuff that we really don't need more of at the moment. And then we're going to call it good, and we're going to head back. So I will meet you guys all back in Novice Orbit, where we're going to pick up where we left off. All right, everyone, we are back here, and I have got all of my Arcospheres, and I've got all of my gravimetrics facilities that I'm hopefully going to need, at least for the moment. And what we're going to do is we're going to try this out. So to start off, we have to convert them into either the lambda. Oh wait, no, not this one. What do we have to do? We have to do one of these two. Okay, so we do lambda, zeta, epsilon, or gamma. And I think that's what this takes. No, lambda, xi, epsilon, and phi. Okay, so these convert between all four different sets of all four. These make two different sets of all four from the first 4 Arcospheres, and unfortunately, I don't think I have a multiple of 4. I have 23, 22, which is not a multiple of 4, unfortunately, but so we're actually going to have 2 Arcospheres that are doing absolutely nothing at the moment, which it is what it is, I suppose. All right, so let's put this down, and we have also unlocked the Naquium Tesseract, which is cool. We'll have to work on that at some point as well. But we're gonna do, let's see, we got Arcosphere polarization, both of these two. So this one does xi, theta, phi, and omega, and then this is the other 4. So I think what we're gonna do is we're first going to do these 4, oops, grab those, and then we're gonna do these 4. And we are going to, of course, speed these bad boys up because they're gonna be very slow right now. And let's do this right here, I think. Actually, probably move this over 1 square, just so that these two don't really have a chance of overlapping. I mean, could put something there, I guess, but okay. Check it out. So we are done. So now we have these 4. So we've got. Ugh, man, this is gonna be hard to keep track of all of them, right? All right, so we're gonna grab those 4. Gonna grab those 4. Jeez, okay. This is gonna be fun, So I gotta figure out how we're gonna balance them, right? That's really gonna be the tricky part. And yeah, we're gonna have 1 Arcosphere. I feel like we should have more than one. Yeah, we have 2 Arcospheres that are doing nothing, because obviously 4 goes into 20. And yeah, so this is fine. We've got 2 of everything. No, we don't. Why do we not have 2? I must have run the same one 3 times somehow. I don't know how, but I did. That's fine, because we can fold them into one another, right? So that's where the Arcosphere folding comes into practice, right? So like, let's take a look right now. So right now we've got this one once, lambda once, and gamma once. We also have epsilon once and zeta once. So like, is there epsilon and zeta? This is gonna be hard to figure out, right? Let's see. So the ones I want to look at are, let's say, Arcosphere gamma, so like the purple one, right? So let's look for that Y looking one. Y. Okay, so there's a Y, and that mixes with, what does that mix with? Oh, I want to fold 2. Let's say I want to fold 2 a Y, right? Yeah, so I want to do this one. E and W, these 2, folding into these 2, right? So here's what we're going to do, okay? We are going to put some passive providers here. Oh, I had another set in there as well. Nice. Okay. So we're just going to put all of these in there, I guess, right now. Okay. Because what we're going to do is we are going to be using, at least I'm going to try this. I'm going to try and use circuits to control the levels of arcospheres that we have in circulation, right? And when some of them get low, we're going to need to fold them into others. Now, the tricky part is going to be figuring out when we need to fold them and when we don't, right? So if we put this guy down here, and what was I looking for in here? I was looking for one of these. Okay, so we're gonna put this right over here. Okay, we're gonna switch this to, yeah, normal mode. Oh, not normal mode. We wanna put one of these down. Okay. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure that we're reading the contents of the circuit network. So read logistic network contents, which means that this will have the different levels of all of these guys, right? Now, there are a couple ways that we could do this. One is by examining, basically going through each of these and saying like, if let's say lambda and omega are low, then set a request, right? If xi and theta are low, set a request for lambda and omega, and so on and so forth to try and balance it that way. And I don't know exactly how that would work in terms of how well that will work. Now, what we could try, I think, is I feel like we should try and make... I'm just trying to think of a way that I can like convert some of them, and so I can test it out once we get it. So we're going to put up a couple of these. And let's grab one of these guys, place it like right over there, let's say. Now, this is one that we would want to do, right? Because we had E and W, or what was it? E and W to, so epsilon and omega to lambda and gamma, right? So E and W to these two, lambda and gamma, okay? That makes sense to me, right? So, and can we fold those exact two back? Like, is there a lambda and gamma to epsilon and omega? Lambda and gamma. I doubt there is. Lambda and theta to epsilon and zeta. Yeah, so there's not an exact one-to-one match. Like, it's not like you can just do the exact opposite of this exact fold, right? You'd have to do a different fold and then another fold. Dude, this is gonna be tricky. I gotta think about this actually. All right, everyone. So I think I figured out what I want to try and do for a solution. I want to disclaim this with I really don't know that it will work, but let me explain my thought process. So looking at all these, there's not like a really exactly clear pattern of how to use them specifically with the different researches that we're gonna have to do and the different things that we're gonna be using them for. Okay. So what that means is that we have to do each one individually. We can't assume anything based off of what the inputs and outputs are. What I mean by that is we can't say like, oh, well, this needs, epsilon and phi, and there's a mapping of exactly omega and gamma back to epsilon and phi. So it's not like we can just like do one process and invert them and then go back and then it's fine, right? What we really have to do is each one of the facilities is going to have to basically try and attempt to regulate its own count of arcospheres. So the unfortunate part is that we don't have one more set. If we had one more set, I think that it would be perfect. So I might actually run back and grab one more set, because what I'm trying to do basically, okay, so let me just try and illustrate, okay? So we're gonna put one of these guys down, and let's see, where are we gonna be able to do this? I need to get, what the heck? I want this to come over here. Right. One sec. Let me just do this. This is gonna be easier if I do it in satellite mode versus like trying to mess around. Okay, so there and there. Okay. And let me move this right there, and then I've got all of my arcospheres in my inventory, which I want to get rid of. There we go. Okay. So we're going to have our row of gravimetrics facilities here. And let's do this. And same over here. Okay, so we've got that. Boom, 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 boom. Nice. Okay, so let's put this guy down right here. Okay, so let's take this one for example, right? We've got lambda and omega to xi and theta. What does this process care about, right? When it comes to these two particular things. And I thought, what was I just looking at that needed? Why did I think that I needed that? I don't know what I was looking. What was I looking at? And there's also this Arcosphere inversion that switches lambda, xi, epsilon, phi to zeta, theta, gamma, and omega, and vice versa. So these two, I don't know how useful these two specific things will be, but we might need to do that. So wait, one second. Zeta, theta, gamma, and omega. Zeta, theta, gamma, and omega. Zeta, theta. So we could do zeta and theta, gamma and omega on the outputs there, but that goes back to epsilon and phi and lambda and xi. Ooh, that's interesting. Okay, hold up. That is interesting. So this one actually maps exactly to what we need here. So theta and gamma, well, not anymore, because theta and gamma go to epsilon, right? To epsilon. That doesn't work. So again, I don't know what the frig I was looking at that I thought needed these, so whatever. We'll just pretend that that didn't happen. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Ready? So we're gonna hook this up here. We are going to get rid of these guys because I don't want them anymore. Okay, let's grab a wire. Now, so this cares about lambda and omega, and it cares about xi and theta. So what we're gonna say I think is we're gonna have to have 4 for each of them, which is kind of gross, but I think it's what we need to do. So look at this. Okay, we've got lambda. Oh, can we do this a better way? I don't think so. No, I don't think we can. I was trying to think if we could like do it a fancy way with like a constant combinator and stuff, but I would have to think more about how to do exactly that. But here's basically how it's going to work. Okay, so we got lambda and omega. So do I actually need 8 of these? So what I really want to say, I think, is lambda and omega. So we'll say, gosh, okay, lambda is going to be greater than xi. Oh, geez. Lambda is greater than xi, and lambda is greater than, what's the other one? Theta. Jeez, dude. And then the other one is going to be omega. So we'll switch this to omega, switch this to omega. Okay. So this is the condition. When all of them, basically when both of the inputs are greater than both of the outputs, then we want to run this machine, basically, right? So when we do that, we're going to output 1 green, 1 green, 1 green, and again, 1 more green. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say, geez, dude, this is going to be very tedious, I think. Then we're going to say when green is equal to 4, output 1 green. Oh, geez. And then we do need a constant combinator. this constant combinator is going to be for omega 1 and lambda 1. Okay. Then we're going to do this guy. And we're going to do, I think we can do each times green, output each, right? And then, last but not least, we can put this up, set requests. So now, whenever we find, and is this doing, yeah, it's doing the right thing. Okay, now whenever we find the situation where both of these are greater than both of the outputs, right, then it will send a request for omega and lambda. Now, in this case, right, omega and lambda are not both greater than, what is that, epsilon or xi and theta. So theta has 3. So let's look at one that has like 2 and 2, right? So gamma and lambda, is there one for gamma and lambda? Zeta and lambda. Phi and omega. Jeez, they like all like kind of mix a little bit, right? Well, actually, oh shoot, I was gonna do, let's see, what does this one do? This one does xi and theta and outputs gamma and omega. Which one do I need to use? Hold up, let's look at that really quick. I need to use a xi and a theta. Okay, xi and theta. This uses xi and theta. Okay, so we could try doing one of these, okay? So this one uses xi and theta. Outputs gamma and omega, which is actually exactly what we're looking for. Okay, cool. So let's try this, okay? This is gonna be interesting. Okay. Let's do this. Oops. Whoa. Yeah, let's do this. Okay. And it's ready to run it twice. Now I need to grab some naquim plates and cryonite. Oh, it's got cryonite rods. So I just need to grab a cube and some plates. We're just gonna try this, okay? Ooh, we got a little bit of extra stuff here, which is cool. Why is this stuff not running? Hold up. Let's take a look at that really quickly here. What are we missing? Oh, we're missing this because no particle stream because none of these. Well, we can fix that really quickly. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna quickly go like this. Go like that. And then over here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna say this, and we're gonna say this, and we're gonna say when testing kits are equal to 0, then we'll enable this. And this is gonna request like, let's say 50 test kits. Okay, cool. Let that go. But at least I've got what I need now. I've got some cubes and some plates. So let's check it out. Let's check out what happens. So we put these guys in, sweet, right? It runs. We're gonna make it our first naquim tesseract. Very cool. We've got an naquim tesseract. All right, I'm just trying to see what's up with this. Okay, stop. I don't want any of those. Stop it. Okay. All right. I guess are these even working? None of these are outputting anything. Are you serious? Lambda is not greater than xi. Lambda. Hold up. What is going on? My brain, dude. This has got to be some of the hardest I've thought. There's another one. Where are the rest of my... Why do I feel like I'm missing some? This takes in 3 and outputs 3. Right? Yeah. So I feel like I'm 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, it's because they came over here and did it run? Oh, it ran. I'm an idiot. It ran. It just requested too much stuff. Okay. Well, that kind of worked, except now this Omega is sitting here doing nothing. So we might just need like a shoot ton more Arcospheres to make the whole system really work, right? Seems likely. So now we've got like an extra theta here. We've got friggin' 4 thetas. We've got a bunch of Omegas doing nothing now. That's a little bit annoying. Not gonna lie, it is a little bit annoying. And what was... Oh, it already... I was gonna say, what was the other output? But it was a Xi, which is now over here. We've got 3 of them again. Okay, I mean, you know what? I think it could work, but I think we need like 4 or 5 or 6 times as many Arcospheres to really make it work. Because the trouble is that they stack too easily, right? Like, it requests a bunch, and then before it's used them up, it's still requesting another, and then like the balance is like all off. So like right now, we only have 1 zeta, and we've got 4 thetas, right? Can we do anything about that? Zeta, and that goes into theta, but we need a phi and a xi as well. So we've got a xi and a phi. We've got 4 phi. We've got a xi to get rid of a theta, right? Theta and lambda. Theta and epsilon. Dude, my brain is starting to hurt. Holy moly. This is gonna be challenging, I think. This is gonna be challenging. Yeah, I gotta think about this more, I think. Alrighty guys, so it's been a long time since the last cut has happened, and as you can see, I've done quite a bit of work. I don't know that this is 100% going to work, okay? And I haven't really tested it either, and there's still some things we need to do to fix things up. So as we do those, I'm gonna talk through what the solution is. But here's basically what we gotta do. So I grabbed a bunch more of the Arcospheres. So now we have, what's this, 48 of them, okay? Quite a few. So I'm hoping that with 48, it makes balancing them easier. I don't actually know that for sure, but we're gonna try it. Now, what the idea is here, with the requesters, the problem with the requesters is that as soon as it pulls from the requesting chest into the machine, right, into the gravimetrics facility, it immediately requests another one, and a bot is already on its way to send another Arcosphere to that machine, and then it gets stuck because only one of those ends up there, and then it's like waiting for others, and it doesn't work that well. So what we have to do instead, I think, is we have to very carefully decide when we are going to put a single Arcosphere onto the belt to be consumed by a specific machine. And the reason this works slightly differently is that it's not a bot requesting it, and so if it's not used, right? So I'll explain here. So right here, these combinators here are basically literally just a way for me to hover over this and very easily see the counts of all of them in the system. Okay, so that's literally all that this is doing, is showing me what those counts are. Now, and it's isolating it from the rest of all of the million items in the network. So that's what this is doing. And the idea here is we're going to be taking keeping track of the count that are in the network, which is basically all the ones that are in this chest here, okay? And then when we decide over here that one of these facilities should run, what is going to happen is it's going to tell this inserter to insert onto the belt. And then whatever's on the belt is going to get subtracted from whatever's requested, basically. So for instance, this one here, right? We have lambda and omega making xi and theta, okay? When we need a lambda and omega, it is going to send a signal, lambda and omega, which is going to turn this on. And as soon as it inserts one of lambda or omega, this will subtract from everything that's on the belt from the request. So let's say it puts a lambda on, it'll subtract a lambda. So then it'll only be a theta, or omega, I mean, that it needs to put onto the belt. And then it keeps track of what's on the belt, and then this thing still, this inserter here that's inserting into the machine still knows, hey, I need to pick up a lambda and an omega. Once it picks one of them up, then it's no longer requested anymore because it's now changed the count that's in the system. And once it's changed the count that's in the system, it's going to actually request, it's going to stop the request over here entirely, but it still knows that it needs a lambda. And so it's going to pick up the lambda, okay? So basically, this inserter here is going to pick up what it needs. So we're keeping track of like two different systems. We're keeping track of what the total system has, which is everything that's on the belt and in the system, in this chest here. And we're keeping track of just what is on the belt. And just what's on the belt is used for determining when these things are requested, and what's in here, what's in the total system is used for determining when we're going to turn this on or off. Okay, hope that makes sense. It is a little bit confusing, and again, I don't know that it's 100% going to work. Now, the one case that I realized after I did all this, the one case, or I guess two cases that I didn't really think about, is when we have a full inversion needed, right? So what we can do here is here, we can do an arcosphere inversion where we take lambda, xi, epsilon, phi, and we get out zeta, theta, gamma, and omega. And then this is like the inverse of that. It's where zeta, theta, gamma, and omega make lambda, xi, epsilon, and phi, okay? So that's the one other case that I haven't really thought of yet. And for that, it's gonna be an even bigger system. So what that's gonna look like is, we're gonna look like this. Okay, this is gonna do an inversion. And yeah, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna copy, well, hold on. So how it's gonna work is like this. So I'm gonna try and copy these almost exactly, right? So we're gonna need 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, dude, do we actually need a lot? I'm thinking that we might need a lot of, shoot. We're gonna need, so right now we need 4 of these because it's 2 times 2. If I'm thinking about this correctly, we're gonna need 16 decider combinators, 4 times 4, because we're gonna need 1 for each of the inputs to compare to each of the outputs, right? So that's 1 times 4, times 4, times 4, and times 4. Basically to compare, are the counts of all of these greater than the counts of all of these? And if the counts of these are all greater than all of these, then we're gonna do an inversion and flip-flop at least one set, right? But for that, you need 16 combinators. So it's gonna end up looking like this. 1, 2, 3, 16. And then we'll need that one here. And then how that's gonna look is combining all of these like this, combining all the inputs. Oh man. And then combining all the outputs together. And then this one is gonna say when green equals 16, we're gonna output one more green. And then we'll have this guy here, whoops. We'll have this guy here, right? And this guy, right, so this output, yeah. And then this is hooked up to, yes, we can just do, this is hooked up to, oh wait, this is not supposed to be hooked up to the inputs. That is supposed to be hooked up to the inputs though. And then what we can do is we can put down a constant combinator. and we can hook that up. And then we're gonna hook up all the ones that we need to request. So we're gonna do zeta, theta, gamma, omega. So let's come over here. Zeta, theta, gamma, and omega, right? Yeah. Zeta, theta, gamma, and omega. We're going to copy that. And then the output of this, we put a red wire to here and a green wire to here, okay? And then I'm going to go through all these really quickly, and I'm going to set all of them to be the correct values. And then what we're going to do is we will, actually I can just do this really quickly. We are going to copy that whole thing, and we're going to do another inversion here, except instead of these four, it's going to be lambda and xi and epsilon and phi. Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go through and set all of these everywhere, and this recipe is gonna be the other recipe. So it's gonna be this guy, okay? And then the really tricky part is gonna end up being, how do we actually use any of the Arcospheres that are in the system? Like, how do we know? And I think how it'll be is, if there are no inputs to this inserter here, we will be able to then, over here, actually utilize those to do things like all of our different research cards. So like, we can check out, you know, are there zeta and omega in the system? Cool. If there are, we can request, and we can try and, I don't know how smart we're going to end up getting. Like, are we going to have a gravimetrics facility for each of these and pick, you know, if lambda is greater than phi, then do the phi one, you know, so on and so forth. I don't know how much we're going to use these. I feel like we probably should try and be smart about which ones we use. And then the good news is that this does not need anything, any Arcospheres, but it does need Naquium Tesseracts, which also do require more Arcospheres input, which is wonderful. And it also requires a lot of Naquium plates and a cube. So it's super expensive in terms of Naquium. And I've upped my Naquium intake, and it's still nowhere near enough, unfortunately. So that is a little bit annoying, but I'm doing my best to keep things moving, and yeah, I still need to automate these stupid things. But anyways, so that's the goal here, okay? So I'm gonna go quickly set all of these, and then I will meet right back up with you. Alrighty, everyone, so I got all of those done, and for this one, it was actually super easy. I just copied this whole section down here, put it up here, and then I just inverted the symbol from greater than to less than, because all I'm gonna be doing is flip-flopping where they were, so it's the exact same operation. And I believe that I had misplaced the input for this one, so I fixed that, and I think that besides that, oh, this needs an output to a red. There we go. That's output to red. This is output to red. Very nice. So I think that that's it. Alrighty, guys. So I think what we're going to do to finish this episode off is we're going to work on actually using the Arcospheres a bit. So how that's going to work is we actually have all of these cards, and all of these cards are actually super simple. They're literally just Arcospheres and one Naquium plate. The good news about that is super cheap. So I'm very excited about that. And then this comprehensive deep space catalog is also really, honestly, pretty inexpensive. It's literally just the Cryonet rods that we already have over here for our other ones. And so with just one plate, it's literally one catalog is 4 plates, and that's it, which is awesome. So here's how I'm going to do this, okay? We are going to need some more of these gravitational centers, so I'm going to grab those, the gravimetrics facilities. I'm going to get those delivered, and then, geez, how are we going to do this? So do we want to track what is on this belt? I don't know, do we? Yeah, we probably do. but I just got to figure out exactly why or how. Okay, so how is this supposed to work? I'm trying to think if there's an easy way, because we want to keep it balanced. And we also want to keep like the actual counts of these relatively balanced, I think, because that'll help us maintain order in all of the other things that we need to do. So here's, I think, how we're going to do it. Okay, so let's say, for instance, we're going to be doing this one. Okay, so this makes zeta, or uses zeta and omega and makes lambda or phi. So we're going to do this. Oh, and here's where we do need this is where we do need our space pipes for the fluids. And we don't really have them anywhere nearby, do we? That's great. Let's just do this really quickly. We're gonna fill in right down here. I'm actually just gonna keep going. That way I can pull the fluids down as far as I want. And we can pull that over, pull that over. All right. Now, how do we do this? First off, I think we need to say a decider combinator coming from red here. And this is going to say anything greater than 0. So it says if any of the input signals meet the condition, it will output true. If it is false when there are no inputs. Ah, right? So everything is what we want. Everything equals 0. If all input signals meet the condition, it will output true. It is true when there are no inputs. So that's what we want. We want it is true when there are no inputs, and we'll output 1 green. Okay, so what this is going to do is it's going to say when there are no signals coming to this guy, meaning that we're not trying to output anything onto this belt. At that point, then, we will be able to request for our other tech cards and everything down here, okay? It will not be only tech cards on here. There will be other things that will be on this belt, but we're going to start with just the tech cards, okay? Now this needs significant data. Well, I guess that's the other, like, expensive part of this, but really, like, we have so much significant data that we don't even know what to do with all of it. I mean, look at this. We have 25,000 significant data here, and these things are barely even running. Like, this thing runs every once in a while. These things have literally never run. So I'm not really worried about using significant data. So to do this, right, we're going to do this. We're going to do our inserters. We're not going to request those. Nope. Nope. We're going to request naquium plates and significant data. Now, the reason I'm requesting is because actually, you know what? We've got significant data here. I probably will just run this across, actually. Well, that doesn't fit. That does, though. Nice. Oh, man, that train came flying by. Okay. Not sure exactly how this is going to work, but we're going to do this. Okay. So that's significant data. Bada bing, bada boom. And do I want to do plates? I can... jeez. I think this is how I'm going to do the plates right here. Is we're going to do a passive provider. Oops. Passive provider. We're going to do 2 stacks or 3 stacks of plates, which is 60 plates total, I think. And we're going to do this. It's honestly just going to make it easier. And then what we'll do is over here, we'll just do this. And we'll request, I don't know, 20 naquium plates. Seems good. And then we just need to do the Arcospheres, right? And the Arcospheres, of course, are the hard part, yes. So basically, for this, I want to check our... Ah, jeez, dude. This is the hard part, too. Like, how do I know which Arcospheres I should put on the belt? Like, when do I know which of these should run when do I know when each of these should signal this thing to output, you know, a set of zeta and omega arcospheres so that I can use them, right? Like looking at it right now, we have 3 zeta and 9 omega. So with those numbers, I mean, realistically, we should be able to signal that. Now, do any of these make zeta? I'm just curious. Like, yeah, so this one makes zeta and theta, or epsilon and phi. This one uses theta and gamma, makes either zeta or epsilon. So, here's where it gets tricky. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our deciders over here, okay? Now, we can also do, so zeta and omega, right? I honestly just like want to signal all of them to output like all at once when there's no inputs here. So here, what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to keep track of everything that's on this belt and in the system, right? So we've got our system count over here. This is gonna be our system count. It's gonna be in green. And this system count is also going to include the things that are on the belt, okay? So we're counting the things that are on this belt. And when the system count, system count is, oh geez. How the frig do we signal what to output? Let's do this, okay? We're gonna signal to output a zeta and an omega. Okay, so we're just gonna try, what we're gonna try first, I don't know if this is gonna work. What we're gonna try first though is we're gonna try signaling, outputting 1 zeta and 1 omega, right? Which is what this uses, zeta and omega. And we're gonna do this. And then we're gonna do, actually, it's gonna be more like this. La-di-da. Actually, do I need to count what's on here? Yes, I do need to count what's on here. Because, okay, so we're gonna do each times green, output each. Okay, so perfect. We've got our zeta and omega. So what eventually is gonna happen is we're gonna tell this thing to output those, okay? But then we need to decide which of these we're actually going to use to do the processing, right? Because we do wanna optionally choose the processing, because that's important, because maybe we would rather convert into 2 phi versus 2 lambda. Like, so what we're gonna say actually here is like, oh geez, if phi is greater than lambda, right? Those are the 2 options. Then we're gonna output 1 phi. Okay. We're gonna go here. And that is, wait, what does this one make? This one makes lambda. Whoops. Okay, try this again. That'll go there. Actually, I'd rather have it like this, so that way it's a little bit more readable. So we'll switch these around. Actually, we'll leave phi here. We'll say less than, and we'll switch this to lambda. So if phi is less than lambda, output lambda, and we'll do set filters on this filter inserter, okay? So basically what's gonna happen is, oh shoot, that's not gonna happen. Yeah, that's not gonna happen, because what we actually need to have happen now is, yeah, we need to do this, and then this is gonna output, I don't know, a blue signal, okay? Then we're gonna do this, and we're gonna say each times blue, output each, and then we're gonna go here, and we're gonna say set filters, okay? That will set the filters for lambda and phi. Can this go further? No, of course it can't, so we're gonna move it down one more. Okay, there we go. Okay, so then this is gonna do like the exact same thing, Oh. Wait, no, this is fine. This is fine. I think. Ah, jeez. I might have to do this signal differently for each of them because what's going to happen is I don't want to mix the signals for this constant combinator. Yeah, so we got to be a little careful how we are doing these signals here, right? This is, we're just going to flip that. This we're going to do the exact same thing. This we're going to say set filters, okay? So now this, and then so here's where the whole system count comes into play. And this is kind of what we do in the other one too. We say we need to, yes, keep track of everything that's like in here, but we also need to keep track of like what's in here and what's on the belt. So what we don't want to have happen is we don't want to put more things on the belt than we're requesting, which is why we do this thing over here. So what we're going to do in addition is, and again, I don't want to screw up other counts of things. And actually what we probably should do is keep these systems like entirely separate. And how we're going to do that is like this. We'll have a green come in here. We'll say each times 1, output each. And all that's going to do is just, it's going to isolate the signal so that we're not ever combining signals somehow. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take the signals that are on the belt, do each times -1, output each. That's easy enough. Do, yeah, I think we already have a connection there. So that's basically subtracting everything that's on the belt. And then we're going to say each, what is this one? Each greater than 0, output 1. Each greater than 0, output 1. And this input is going to be from here. And this is where we need to get really careful, because this output right now is zeta and omega. Yeah, I think this is okay. This here, so this should be outputting zeta and omega, right? And then this is going to be multiplying the things that are on the belt by -1 and inputting them into here. So realistically, we should output 1 zeta, 1 omega. These things, phi less than or equal to, right? There we go, okay. So right now, phi and omega, or lambda, whatever the lambda, were equal to each other. So I was forgetting that edge case. So we do want them to say equal to. So this is the one that's picking. And then from here, what we're going to do is this is going to signal right here. This is going to signal to output. Here, we're going to say this goes here. We're going to say set filters. Nice, it did nothing. That's what I was worried about. So why is this? Oh, because no. Why is it? So this is output signals is 1. Input signals, output signals, and then here, input signals. Oh, that's why. This has got the wrong inputs. Yeah, okay. This and this are looking at, jeez, this. Freak, dude. That's also not what I want. No, that is what I want. I do want it comparing all of the signals. Right? Except that these are all getting mixed up now. Which means I gotta try to do this over again. Mixing signals is the worst, right? Because like these things need to be looking at the full system, and then this, yeah. Shoot, dude. This was supposed to be looking at, So this is doing each times green. The green is multiplying by this, telling it what to output. This is supposed to be telling this what to output, not telling this what to do, right? Why did I do these blue ones? I don't know why I did these blue ones. Oh, right, because it's telling... Yeah. Shoot, dude. This is really, really frustrating. Okay, so... These are looking at the full system, which we do want it to look at the full system, right? But then what we actually want to have happen is we're going to use red for this. So red, this thing is... Okay, here we go. So this is outputting... Yeah. Okay, so it's outputting... Right here, you can see this is outputting one blue. And then this one would also be a blue. And then we'll connect these together. And then what we'll say is each times blue output each. And then what we'll do is we'll go... Yeah, not this. It's supposed to be from here. There we go. Okay. Oops, that's not what I meant. That's not the button I meant to hit. Okay, so we have the correct Arcospheres in here. Oh my god. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So, okay, here's what's happening. Okay, here we're isolating the other system from this system so that way we don't mix signals. Here what we're doing is we're comparing everything that's on the belt, subtracting it, and then this is telling the inserter here what it still needs to insert. That insertion is based off of what we're telling it here to insert and what we'll be telling it in other processes down the line. What this is doing is it's comparing the whole system, what's on the belt and what's in the chest basically, and I guess technically on this belt too. Which of these is greater? And with either phi or lambda. Whichever one of them is greater, less than or equal to, greater than. Are these inputs mixed? These inputs are mixed. Nice. Oh my god. These inputs can't be mixed, can they? So we gotta do one more operation here, which is to not mix inputs, which is super annoying. Ah, jeez. So this one is outputting a blue, this one is not, right? So actually, instead of these two being connected, this is going to be connected to the output there, this is going to be connected to the output there, and this is going to be connected to the inputs here. These are literally just going to do each times one, output each. So it's literally just going to do the exact same thing. That isolates the inputs, and then that tells us here that we are going to be using this system because in this case, phi is greater than lambda. And we can look at that over here. We can see we have 11 phi and 2 lambda. So we definitely want to be converting those to lambda. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be trying to proactively prevent Arcospheres from having to go through the folding process. That's going to have to happen at some point. We are going to have to fold Arcospheres. But our goal is to make it as rare as possible. And this is how we're doing it, is we're selecting which of the recipes we want to use smartly. Because I'd rather make lambda in this case, right? This is making... Oh, wait, this is making phi. Hold on. Oh, wait, we don't want to make phi. We want to make the other one. So let's actually switch these recipes, right? Oh, wait, we just need to switch these symbols, right? So instead of less than or equal to, we're going to do greater. And instead of greater, we're going to do less than or equal to. So then if we grab these guys, put them there, put that there. There's no signals here. We still need to tell this to output though, right? Oh, this is saying that there's a lot of negatives in there, right? But there's not really a lot of negatives on there. Why am I connecting this to here? Oh, this is the full system, that's why. Shoot. Okay, that's what I had to do before. Yeah, so this actually needs to be like red, 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 red. Wait. Red, red. Oh, there's already red on there. Nice. Okay. So this red needs to be connected here instead. There we go. Okay, that's fine, I think. Now, we may end up like limiting it one other way, which is to say like we want to do specific processes like one at a time, like we may need to do this one to add a count. So like we might be comparing counts of like these cards once we start making them. But to begin with, I think it's fine just to do this, right? And then like we have our cards here. And then what we could really do is like proactively start doing that. We could like start keeping track of the amount of cards that we have. And that way we can say like, you know, if the space dilation data cards is equal to this count, like we could try and like equalize the count of all of our cards. That way like the Arcospheres never get too out of whack and we're not requesting the wrong Arcospheres and so on and so forth, right? Because this Arcosphere does make it back, yeah, eventually to this, to tell it to insert, right? And then once it gets inserted, you know, it gets on the belt and blah, blah, blah. Now, the tricky part, too, is going to be, like, this belt is eventually going to have to loop back because, like, if it doesn't get picked up, like, right now, there's 2 Arcospheres on there that are not going to get picked up because this is not it's full already, right? It can't fit anymore. So it's going to have to loop back around and get dropped back off in here, which is fine. I'm not worried about that. But I think that solves all of the problems. I know the circuits are complex. I don't know that they work fully. We have yet to find that out. And we're really not going to find it out until we end up in a situation where we have like a ton of like one kind of Arcosphere. Now, I don't know if it is possible to end up in a kind of situation where the Arcospheres are just so wildly imbalanced that you can't balance them anymore. Like, could I end up in a situation where I have like 25? I don't know the answer to that. I'm hoping that we don't end up in a situation where I have to go get more Arcospheres to fix the balance problems, because then I would have to like redo this whole system to try and get it to work. But I think that's what we're going to do, is we're going to try and do these shenanigans for all of the 3 other cards. And that's what I guess next episode is going to be, is figuring out the rest of these cards and making the comprehensive deep space catalogs. We also have to make tesseracts for this stupid thing, which is going to suck because those are expensive. But I think that we'll deal with that problem when we get there. That's not going to be right for right now. So thank you all for watching. I apologize for how long it's taken to get this episode out. It has honestly been super challenging trying to figure out how to do these tesseracts. And like I said multiple times, I don't know that it's going to work 100%. I think it's going to work, and I have some kind of faith in my system. But that being said, like, it's not the most simple thing ever. And so, is it possible that, like, it just fails completely? Yeah, it's absolutely possible. And if that happens, we'll revisit it. We might end up going with the requester route after all, and just have to get a ton more Arcospheres. I hope that doesn't have to happen, though. I'd really like to stick with the amount of Arcospheres we have. Grab more if we need them, just to, like, handle throughput issues, but yeah, we'll have to figure that one out. But that's it for now. So thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more Arcosphere fun next time, and I will see you all then.